We're kicking off with Raw, as Chad Gable once again found himself being stalked by the Wyatt Six, and while he wasn't attacked, these mind games have taken a toll on him. Afterwards, Nikki Cross came out of the ring and handed Michael Cole another VHS tape, which revealed another video of Bo Dallas, and more has come to light about the segment. Footage had surfaced online featuring Cross, where an alternate angle gives a terrifying look at just how eerie she can be while she was handing the VHS tape to Cole. For as eerie as Cross was in the segment, her work and the work of the Wyatt Six has captivated fans, and this wasn't the only segment for the group this week. Eagle-eyed viewers who watched Raw may have noticed that during a backstage segment with the Creeds, Gable was being stalked by Huskus the Pig. Huskus could be spotted beneath one of WWE's many production trucks, possibly hinting at the Wyatt Six continuing following of Gable backstage. With the menacing antics of the Wyatt Six growing each week, it seems that Chad Gable might be Uncle Howdy's first opponent after he steps inside the squared circle. But what did you make of the Wyatt Six presence on this week's Raw, both at ringside and backstage? Give your thoughts on the comments section. During last week's acknowledgement ceremony on Smackdown, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Paul Heyman entered the ring together. They officially introduced Jacob Fatu as their newest member. While Tonga, Loa, and Fatu acknowledged Sikoa as their tribal chief, Heyman hesitated. He expressed his love for Sikoa but confessed he couldn't acknowledge him as Reigns' successor. Angered, Sikoa immediately struck with a Samoan spike. Next, Jacob Fatu drilled Heyman with a flying headbutt from the top rope. He then joined the two Tongans on the arena floor, where they performed a triple powerbomb through the announcer's table as Sikoa watched on. Storyline-wise, in an update from WWE, it was reported that Paul Heyman was rushed to the hospital after the Bloodline's attack. Rumors circulated about Heyman's serious injuries, with Triple H and Roman Reigns monitoring his condition. However, Wade Keller of PW Torch clarified that the moves on Heyman were carefully executed to avoid injury to the 58-year-old veteran. Heyman did experience severe back pain from the impact of the triple powerbomb, but backstage WWE personnel promptly attended to him. Keller added that Roman Reigns personally checked on Heyman to inquire about his condition. The storyline continues to evolve intriguingly, leaving fans wondering when and how WWE plans revenge for Heyman's attack. NXT news now, Roxanne Perez arrived with security as her upcoming challenger Lola Vice explained what drives her to succeed in the ring. The prodigy kept confident, proclaiming that she would never lose the NXT Women's title, but Vice sent a message by knocking out a security guard with a spinning back fist. This promo segment was supposed to solidify Vice as a babyface, but this was a rough segment, and the two lost the script early, leading to an awkward 10 seconds of silence. Vice was consistently on the verge of tears in the segment as she spoke of how her mother was pregnant with her when she took her black belt test. Vice broke down in tears as she recalled her mother getting sick, which forced her to compete in MMA to provide for her family, but this truth couldn't save this segment. Perez tried to keep this on track, but she is not a confident enough promo to guide this type of segment, and the two acted like they were in different segments with their promos. This might have been better served as a pre-tape, so agents could work more closely with them to help them tell the story of the upcoming match. In the best Heatwave hype package of the night, Wes Lee cut a fiery promo about what the NXT North American title means to him, while the shadow of Oba Femi slowly engulfed him. Femi promised Lee that he was no match for him, and this is all building to what could easily be the match of the night this weekend at NXT Heatwave. Tyler Bate was in action on this week's edition of NXT, and unfortunately, the inaugural United Kingdom champion appears to have suffered an injury. During a tag team match, Bate and Pete Dunne faced the Hank and Tank connection, with the match ending with Bate hitting a corkscrew plancha off the top rope. As he went for the cover though, Bate only used one hand and was seen protecting his other arm, and when the ref tried to lift Bate's arm in victory, Dunne stopped him. This was a great showcase for Hank and Tank, who had the right opponents to push them to the next level as the pair moved and looked like a true tag team. NXT is low on teams that can challenge for the tag team titles, but this match should be the first step in committing to these two hard-hitting stars. With that said, it was not time for Hank and Tank to beat a team like New Catch Republic, a team that can work NXT as long as they want, given the consistent quality of every match. As for Bate, it remains to be seen whether this was a minor injury or something more serious, but we'll continue to follow this situation for an update. At Forbidden Door, Swerve Strickland defeated Will Ospreay to retain the AEW World Championship, which many saw as an unexpected outcome. Given Ospreay's high profile in and out of AEW, many thought the title would be his, and more has come to light about the booking of their match. Fightful Select reports that Ospreay, a longtime friend and in-ring rival of Swerve, was increasingly frustrated that many saw Swerve's reign as a placeholder for him. Indeed, there have been fans who believe Swerve is simply holding the title until Will wins it, possibly at the All In 2024 event in Ospreay's native England. Determined to dispel this notion, Ospreay approached AEW management with a proposal to put over Swerve, aiming to eliminate any placeholder speculation. With significant creative plans coming, Ospreay was not troubled by the fact he'd be losing to Swerve and wanted to make clear that AEW's success relies on a collaborative effort. After winning the international title, Ospreay emphasized the importance of humility and teamwork, demonstrating that no one should be above losing to the world champion. AEW sources have praised Ospreay for his cooperative spirit and his willingness to help others in the company by using the immense goodwill he has with fans. While some have speculated their rematch and Will's win will be at All In, the two are not scheduled to face each other there, with different opponents lined up for the event. As for Forbidden Door, their match not only highlights the talents of both men, but underscored Ospreay's dedication to doing what's right for AEW. But what do you make of all this? Were you surprised to see Ospreay come up short at Forbidden Door? Let us know down below in the comments. With Forbidden Door out of the way, attention now turns towards tonight's Dynamite, and a special main event is being planned for an upcoming show. This week's show has a title match between Will Ospreay and Daniel Garcia, the Owen Hart tournament, and appearances by Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, but that's not all. Andrew Zarian of Beyond the Bell reports that a mega main event could happen on the July 17th show, but stressed that this was not 100% confirmed to him just yet. If it goes ahead, this match will be a pay-per-view worthy main event according to Zarian's sources, but there's no word on who exactly will be in the match. Between now and then, though, we have the stacked card for tonight's show, as well as the finals of the Owen Hart men's and women's tournaments on the July 10th episode. The July 17th show will be Dynamite's 250th episode, and could we get a tease of this mega main event as soon as tonight? Only time will tell. At Double or Nothing, Adam Copeland suffered a fractured tibia that would end his reign as TNT champion, and has also snuffed out his chances of appearing at All In. On the latest poster for the show, Copeland has been replaced with MJF, while Julia Hart, who's been out for some time, has been replaced by Mariah May. Jack Perry, the new TNT champion, was added to the newly updated poster, and we'll have to see what kind of matches we get this August in Wembley Stadium. At Forbidden Door, Mercedes Moné put her TBS title on the line against Stephanie Vaquer's New Japan Strong Women's title in a meeting of two exceptional female talents. For a while, it seemed Vaquer had the CEO's number, but as soon as Moné got her opening, she hit an array of moves to get the win and emerge a double champion. PW Insider reports that the match received heavy praise internally, with special mention going to Vaquer, who isn't as big a star as Moné, but she got the crowd on her side. This was Mercedes Moné's goal heading into the match, and it ended up being a success, and the New York crowd even went as far as talking smack to Moné's home city of Boston. Moné's celebration after the match was cut short by the returning Britt Baker, who stole Moné's spotlight, but has yet to publicly break her silence after this appearance. Tony Khan has announced that Moné will have her title celebration in the ring on tonight's Dynamite, and the champ has dared any woman to steal her spotlight again. This could be the perfect opportunity for Baker and Moné to finally meet face to face, as fans have thrown out this match following the former WWE superstar signing to AEW. With All In coming up in roughly a month and a half, the promotion could be sowing the seeds for a match between them at the pay-per-view in Wembley Stadium. Back to NXT, and Shawn Spears and Ethan Page try to rile up Trick Williams and Javon Evans ahead of Heatwave, but this plan would ultimately backfire for the heel veterans. The NXT champion and the young OG sent the pair through tables in the ring before arguing with each other to end the night in the final tease towards Heatwave. Contract signings are often more miss than hit, but this worked better than expected, and while the substance was lacking, everyone involved had fun with it. Page and Spears were the guiding forces, but this was a showcase for Evans, who sold that he belonged, and the crowd was almost more behind him than Trick by the end. The Fatal 4-Way will be a fun showcase of talent, even if there was not enough time to truly build the drama of this clash before Heatwave. In a street fight that felt at times like it could have gone either way, Michin and Jaida Parker battered each other before the OTM enforcer got the win. Parker's victory saw her hit a hypnotic through the stage before delivering the move again in the ring for the win, and this was the best showing for Parker to date. Matches like this can protect talent and help them stand out, and Parker found creative ways to keep the pace, highlighting her growing impressive instincts in the ring. She still has a ways to go though to develop from prospect to star, and though she didn't lose her focus, she was clearly running out of steam near the end. Her finisher is still a dud that actively hurt the finish of the match, but with all that said, NXT did serious good work in pushing her credibility, admittedly at the cost of Michin. The HBIC deserves a better spotlight than veteran enhancement talent though. She still has not been allowed to achieve anything in WWE, yet is already putting over younger stars. The show also saw the continuation of the Brooks-Jensen situation, as the second-generation wrestler has been creating a stir with his recent actions. In a video, Shawn Michaels, serving as Senior VP of NXT and Talent Relations, addressed the situation and made clear that Jensen has not been released from WWE. However, he said that Jensen had been asked to take a sabbatical to clear his head, and that did not happen, and invited him to speak with NXT GM Ava on next week's show. Whether this happens or not will be up to Jensen himself, but the young star continues to make a stir with his actions in and out of the ring. NXT also saw Oro Mensah continue to grow in popularity as the Meta-4 member picked up another impressive win during the show. In recent weeks, Mensah has been feuding with Ethan Page, who has attacked Meta-4 members, and Mensah even cost Page a shot at the NXT title. Despite this, the all-ego star has wriggled his way into the title match at NXT Heatwave, and this week's NXT saw Mensah be informed that he was banned from that upcoming event. Mensah was also told he'd be facing Miles Bourne on this week's show, and during the closing moments of the match, Damon Kemp pled with Bourne to use the brass knuckles. Bourne refused, and this momentary distraction allowed Mensah to kick him in the corner and pick up yet another win, extending his winning streak that's now in its 4th week. With this win, Mensah will now turn his attention back to Ethan Page, and while he's banned from Heatwave, he may still make his presence felt at the upcoming show. In AEW, Cody Rhodes was presented as a babyface, much to the chagrin of the fans who booed Rhodes mercilessly for what they thought was a bad character. Rhodes has since said that he was playing a heel at the time as his actions riled up the fans, but since returning to WWE, Rhodes has been the quintessential good guy. While speaking on the Pivot podcast, Rhodes was asked about a potential heel turn in WWE and spoke of the complexities such a turn would have for him as a top superstar. Rhodes expressed a strong desire to be champion, but also acknowledged the unique creative space that being a heel would allow him compared to being a face. Cody mentioned the vulnerability and openness required to play a convincing bad guy, and added that he'd need to cut some ruthless promos, which he has done in the past. Acknowledging that some fans want to see him turn heel, Rhodes questioned if they understand what they're asking for, as turning him would be a monumental challenge. Rhodes described that he'd have to go for a scorched earth approach, as he feels only a massive change would get fans to boo the popular WWE champion. This scorched earth approach would potentially offend some groups and face backlash, as according to Rhodes, heels should be disliked, not admired or seen as cool, unlike The Rock. 2 years into his return, and there's not been a hint on TV that a turn could happen, but do you think the modern Cody could be a good heel? Sound off in the comments below. On this week's Raw, Drew McIntyre clinched a spot in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match by defeating Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov in a truly physical match. For Sheamus, the 2015 briefcase winner, this was a very difficult loss to process, and after the match, the Celtic Warrior was seen leaving very disappointed. While Sheamus' music played and he received cheers from the fans, this did little to raise his spirits, and one has to wonder what's next for the veteran after this setback. In December 2017, a WWE live event match that featured Mercedes Moné and Saraya resulted in the latter being injured when she was kicked from the back by the CEO. This injury led to Saraya retiring and losing nearly 5 years of ring time before returning to action in AEW, and also led to plenty of criticism at the time aimed at the then Sasha Banks. Speaking on Hot 97, Moné was asked about the incident in question and shared that she felt extremely depressed and the incident would send her spiraling down a dark path. Moné also hated noise from fans that she was not safe in the ring and argued that these fans were opting not to acknowledge that accidents happen despite precautions. She said, "I was so depressed by it. I feel like, when was that? In 2017 or 2018? That definitely sent me on a spiral of depression because wrestling has always been my biggest goal and dream, and I've always wanted to be the greatest at it. So to hear any kind of noise that people might not think you're safe, or it wasn't even the boys in the back, it's just the fans thinking you're not safe, yeah, it's scary sometimes, but that's the business we're in. You never know when you're gonna get hurt. You never know when you're going to sprain something, break a neck, break a knee. It's just the business. You have to go out there knowing that you're going to put your life on the line, but we do everything we can to protect each other, and unfortunately, that happened. Saraya and Moné have now emerged from this incident, with Saraya saying in a past interview that Moné was one of the first people she called when she was cleared to wrestle. In the end, these matters are in the past, but it's clear that these comments from fans and the incident greatly affected the reigning TBS and New Japan Strong Champion. If you liked what you've seen so far, please consider hitting the like button. In 2002, Billy Gunn and Chuck Palumbo played a flamboyant tag team that would go on to hold tag team gold and remains popular to this day with fans. Speaking on the Insight podcast, Gunn discussed the possibility of reuniting Chuck and Billy for one night in AEW and revealed that he has reached out to his former partner. With that said, fans shouldn't expect Chuck to don his wrestling trunks one more time, as Gunn explained. He just has no desire right now. He has all this other stuff going on. I've asked him to do a couple of things, but he just doesn't. It's not that he won't do it for me, he just doesn't feel like it's him. The boys wanted him to come celebrate my birthday celebration when we did the birthday thing, but I called and asked him and he just, he's got so much other stuff going on. Gunn also spoke about his own career and was uncertain about his retirement timeline and said he feels he still brings value to AEW as evidenced by the reaction of fans. Gunn mentioned he feels good overall, though he does have some physical issues like stress fractures in his back, but these do not hinder his performance significantly. He acknowledged that he can't compete at the same level as wrestlers like Will Ospreay, but believes his presence and the crowd response demonstrate his ongoing value to AEW. Time will tell if Tony Khan ever gets a Chuck and Billy reunion on AEW television, and if it happens in the future, fans will know that previous attempts were made to make it a reality. Now, TNA and WWE have collaborated quite a bit in 2024, with Jordynne Grace recently resuming their partnership by appearing on NXT programming. Several WWE stars have made their way to TNA, including the likes of Tatum Paxley. But what else could happen between the two companies? On the Gabby AF podcast, TNA World Champion Moose spoke of himself crossing over to WWE and admitted he's not actively pursuing or dwelling on it right now. Moose is instead focused on his current commitments, but added that this collaboration provides a significant opportunity for TNA and its wrestlers. The system leader was happy for colleagues like Jordynne Grace and Joe Hendry and the success they've had in NXT, and said he'd be ready to give his best if the opportunity arose. It's interesting Moose says this as WWE has shown interest in him in the past, and there has been rife speculation that the TNA World Champion could make an impact on WWE TV. Only time will tell whether WWE will ultimately bring the TNA World Champion onto television eventually, but it's something that plenty of fans would love to see. Over to TNA, as the most recent set of tapings took place in Philadelphia, so it's fitting that an ECW alum was backstage at the show. Fightful reports that the Blue Meanie was backstage at the tapings, and after years of taking beatings in the city, it must be nice that he could sit back and enjoy the TNA show. Fresh off appearing at the recent TNA tapings in Philly, Izzy Dame was at NXT and bested Brinley Reese, and Tatum Paxley appeared eager to celebrate with her. The odd inclusion of Paxley did not make much sense, but it will in time, but for now, it's good to see Paxley has something to do on the show. Wendy Chu brutalized Carly Bright throughout this match, and a short arm clothesline followed by an arm trap choke forced the submission. The NXT faithful were silent for this one beyond some brief Wendy chants, as not enough has been done yet to make the fans care about Bright. Carmen Petrovic had the advantage over Jasmine Nix more often than not, but JC Jane kept interfering, and this distraction allowed for Nix to get the win with a Pele kick. Nix and Petrovic fall into the same category of competent performers with established characters, though neither has shown that they can compete at a top level just yet. And that was the go-home NXT before Heatwave. How was it? Share your comments below. WWE secrets caught on camera during Wyatt's 6th segment. Current champion claims half of AEW's locker room doesn't want him in the company. If you'd like to know about this story and more, please check in the end screen here or click in the link in the description field. Thanks for watching.